Hello, and thank you for joining me for another great show about autism and all different types of disabilities. Today, I'm joined by Jade Saunders, who lives in Hemel Hempstead. And welcome, Jade. Thank you for joining us. Just tell us
Thank
a
you
little
for
bit
having me.
about yourself and your siblings.
A little bit about me. Not a lot to tell about me. I'm 20. I have a sister that has quite severe autism. I have got quite serious mental health problems myself. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So when you say you've got serious mental health problems, can you just tell me, is that depression, condition?
Yes, yes. In 2016, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. So they think that's been going on for possibly about 5 years now. So since I was 15, we've had a lot of loss in our family, deaths, illnesses, that sort of thing. And it culminated sort of this year in a suicide attempt, actually, in June. So I was in hospital for quite a long period of time and came out in the beginning of August.
So, Jay, just tell us, people don't know about what borderline personality disorder is. Just explain to us in a nutshell what that is.
Yeah, it's a tough one to explain. But how do I explain it? It basically culminates in a nutshell in a lot of quite severe, quite drastic mood changes. It's not too dissimilar to bipolar in itself. But more often than not, it is obviously it is a lifelong condition. They tend to think that it relates back to childhood trauma, to perhaps deaths, to perhaps they're still kind of figuring out what the main causes are. So it's still being investigated, kind of the causes, the treatment processes. So yeah, that's that really.
So how does it affect you on a day-to-day basis?
It depends. Good days, bad days. Good day is fine. I do work. I've gone down to part-time hours now. I work as a waitress. So it did affect my work for a long period of time. Obviously, I had to have quite a long period of time off work because mostly for my mood, obviously to deal with the suicidal thoughts as well, which obviously aren't a great thing to have. And if it's a good day, it's fine. I can function as per normal, I guess. But it can, as any mental health condition can, it can have debilitating consequences. There are days where I live on my own. There are days where I just don't want to get out of bed, but it can last for a long period of time. The self-sufficiency, it just disappears. Any sort of, social skills, any kind of like even something like going to get a prescription, it just doesn't happen. Like there's almost a fear and a sheer just panic when you have to do anything like that.
So you're saying you've got two siblings, but all both of them on the autistic spectrum?
Say that again.
I say you've got two brothers and sisters.
I have got three. I have got Amber, she's 17. She is on the autistic spectrum. And my younger brother, Keir, is 10. No, he's not. He's 12. He is not on the autistic spectrum as far as we're aware, and neither is Neve. She is 10 years old.
Right. And can you tell me a little bit about their autism? Do they suffer from mental health?
Not that we're aware of. Thank goodness, in a way, because obviously I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. Amber obviously is a slightly different case. She does have, severe autism, which can manifest itself, as we all know, in many, many different ways. So I think for the family as well, just dealing with that on a daily basis, which obviously will have an impact on the younger children. Obviously, depending on what what kind of mood Amber's in, what kind of what happens over the course of the day. So that I suppose can impact the children.
So is she non-verbal? Verbal communication?
No, she is verbal, but she also has dyspraxia. both body and verbal dyspraxia. So that can make communicating quite difficult. In a way, it's like she can have a conversation with you, but sometimes she is at quite a loss for words or can't verbalise what's going on in her head. So that can come out in a physical manner, that she can get quite aggressive. Obviously, because she's trying to convey something and she's not quite getting her words out, and it's not quite being understood.
So does she have any problems when she's out in the community with any challenges the family face or you face when you're out with it?
I've had over the years, we've definitely had a lot. Amber she has quite a lot of sensory issues. So when she was younger, hearing was a big thing for her. So lots of noise, it just didn't go down very well. I remember as a child, we were on holiday. I think we were by the sea somewhere. I think we were in Weymouth. And she couldn't go near the sea at all because it was too loud for her. She would just sit in her pushchair, just cover her ears and just scream. I think she's definitely kind of grown out of that a little bit as she's got older, but when she's in a crowded place, like a shopping centre or a convention with a load of different people, you'll see her eyes, her pupils will dilate quite a lot. She'll get very agitated. And she plays with her hands a lot. She does like a lot of, the tactile, kind of grounding techniques. So you can definitely tell, how she's feeling in that regard. With the aspect of how the reactions that we've had some quite spectacular ones. In fact, only a few weeks ago, I was with her and my mother in Aldi, just doing a family shop. And she was just trying to work out which way to go. She was stood in the centre of an aisle. And somebody came up behind her and quite simply pushed her out of the way, and said, "Well, I wish you would hurry up and make up your mind," because she was trying to work out what was going on. And it did take me and my mum aback. Now, Amber knows she's autistic. She doesn't view that as anything, neither here nor there. But she has a T-shirt, well, she's got quite a few T-shirts that says, "I've got autism, please be patient with me," on them. She's got the badges, you name it, she's got it. And she was wearing them. So it was quite clear to this person that, that little bit of patience, that half a second that it would have taken her to step out of the way. Because that then upset her because she had been pushed. And that threw her off for the rest of the day. That put her in a foul mood, understandably. And it's just things like that and just comments that can get made, which obviously she can back them because she doesn't take them to heart. But I think for us as a family, and especially for the younger kids as well, that can be quite hard on them. And, seeing and hearing some of the, quite frankly, quite awful things that can get said.
So does she suffer from any anxiety, depression with autism, or is it
not that we're aware of?
No.
I'm not going to lie, nothing that we're particularly aware of at the minute.
And do you think, as a person who's been around people with autism, do you think there's many people out there who from mental health conditions with autism?
Yes, to an extent. I may be wrong for saying it, but the experiences that I've had, because obviously I've been in and out of mental health care for a long period of time, I've come across quite a lot of people with autism that have a mental health condition as well. Obviously, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all, but I wouldn't say it's a common thing, but I have definitely seen it, and obviously I don't know whether there's a link there or not, but it's definitely something quite interesting.
So obviously on stage we were talking about mental health. Do you think the government are doing enough around mental health and supporting people with bipolar, mental health, depression, personality disorders, and all these types of conditions of mental health? Do you think there's enough support out there?
sorry, I missed the last section of that, but I definitely think that with regards to the mental health side of things, education is always needed. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. We're definitely getting better as a society. I think understanding mental health and autism as well, very slowly, baby steps, but progress is better than nothing. And I just think that coming and having these conversations are key.
Yes, most definitely. So does she go to your sister, does she go to mainstream school or special school?
She was in mainstream school when she was younger. So she was about year 3. So she was 8, possibly. I'm really bad with ages. She was in mainstream school for a period of time with me. We went to the same school. And it was, she just didn't quite get, our special needs coordinator at that school is lovely. I am good friends with her now. She was lovely, and she's very helpful, very supportive. But I think the school as a whole, they just found it difficult. They didn't have the resources available, as is the story of society now, to really provide Amber with the support that she needed. So we did put in an application for her to go to a special needs school near us. It took us 2 years and a lot of fighting to get her in there. When she got in there, she was okay for a period, she adjusted quite well. But after maybe a year, she did start to go downhill a little bit. That may have just been part of growing up, but she very much didn't want to go to school. And at that point, we then discovered that she wasn't necessarily getting the help that she needed from school, and there was just a breakdown in communication between the school and the family. So we built on that, and we got the communication a little bit better. But at that point, Amber wasn't happy, and obviously, as a family, our concern is Amber to be happy, because that would be anyone's priority. So again, we transferred her to another special needs school, just outside the area, so still relatively close, and she flourished. She absolutely loved it. She got the support. It was amazing.
So what age did your sister get diagnosed?
Again, the diagnosis for Amber was very, very difficult. She must have been probably about 6 or 7, because when obviously Amber was born, autism wasn't really discussed it hasn't been. It's only kind of recently that it's kind of come into the forefront and into the conversations. So there was a lot of, she got Asperger's syndrome, maybe it's just a phase and she'll grow out of it. But I think a formal diagnosis was probably done when she was probably between the ages of 6 and 8.
So let's just talk a little bit about yourself with this, because I'm interested to find out about borderline personality disorder. How did that actually get diagnosed? Was it because of the suicide attempts?
A combination of things, I think. Definitely, self-harming and suicidal thoughts were definitely a key in that. But there were a lot of things. There was a lot of, I would say, behavioural issues. Just a lot of emotional issues, a lot of mood issues. And they looked at obviously our family history as to recent, what medical professionals would deem traumas. And they came to the conclusion after a couple of years that, this was the condition I had, and we went from there.
And do you think there's enough awareness about your condition out there or not?
No. No. I have a lot of people. It's definitely getting better now. But I remember again, it wasn't that long ago. It was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But when I was diagnosed, nobody really knew what it was. I was given this diagnosis, me and my mum, and we both went, "Oh, what is this?" I had done research beforehand, so I kind of knew what to expect. But when you say to people, I've got, borderline personality disorder, they go, well, what is it? Is it just, is it a thing you'll grow out of? Is it just a little bit of depression? What is it? Which are valid questions. But I definitely think there is, as with all mental health, there's still a stigma surrounding it.
So how do you diagnose it? Is there a particular trait or an assessment criteria?
I don't think so. In my experience, there wasn't a specific diagnosis procedure. I was just under psychiatrists and psychologists for a long period of time. I'd done counselling since I was about 13. So I don't think with me there was a specific, let's tick these boxes, and if you answer this question like this, then this means you've got borderline personality disorder or you haven't. I think it was just, I want to say it was sheer chance, but I don't really know.
So is the condition now through medication and that?
The condition, I suppose, is definitely very different with every person that experiences it.
So do you have medication to help the condition?
I am not medicated. I was on medication for a period of time. We found that for me personally, it wasn't working. And I have some very good friends that I've met through therapy that have borderline personality disorder, and they're medicated and it works for them, and that's fine. But we just found that medication for me, it didn't work. It didn't make me feel any better. It didn't make me feel any worse. It just sort of, there wasn't enough of a benefit for me to continue taking it long term.
Well, Jade, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, to have you on, and also to educate about borderline personality disorder, because I didn't know anything about it, and you've obviously helped raise awareness on that. And thank you for talking about your sector as well.
Pleasure.
Okay, so if you want to be a guest on my show, please leave comments down below in the box, and we'll be coming back next week where I'll be looking to Sharon telling me about ME. So join me there. Thank you.